Joshua Johnson has been arrested for the murder of his coworker, Riley Whitelaw. Joshua and Riley worked together, and Riley had reported feeling uncomfortable working with Joshua, asking to work opposite shifts. Riley was found dead in the employee break room at Walgreens on June 11th, 2022. Hey everybody, welcome to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey Katie.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. I can't believe we're recording Wednesday already.
I know, this week has been
So,
flying by.
well, we have big plans. We're going to go spend a whole weekend in Boise playing for my birthday.
Yes, we are.
So we're having to work hard all week to be, able to go. So this is us working hard.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is us getting ahead of the game, or as
Mm-hmm.
you call it, paying to play,
Yeah.
so that we can, so that we can take off for a few days and have some fun.
Yeah, for
We're going to be
sure.
so calm and serene because we're going to a lavender festival. We're going to be so calm. We probably won't even
Knowing
be
us,
embarrassing in restaurants or bars.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
knowing
we
us,
will be.
we'll be the loudest people at the Lavender Festival.
We definitely will be. We always are.
I've met us. Yeah.
There's probably lavender wine somewhere. I mean, come on.
Oh gosh, I hope so. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It is very
Maybe like
strange.
a lavender cocktail. Well, we'll find out.
Ooh, a lavender cocktail. Well, because
We'll be back with a report.
like a lavender simple syrup that could go in a martini or
Yes,
something like that. It's very
this is
possible.
true. Yeah, maybe we'll buy lavender and go back home and make a lavender cocktail.
I mean, maybe that's just what we're supposed to do.
We're resourceful gals. We can do it.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Well, let's get this episode kicked off with
Yeah.
some crime update.
Yeah. This really could have fallen into the Idaho category too, but you
Mhm.
guys might remember a case that we covered last fall in northern Idaho. This is Jimmy Russell.
Oh, yes.
So, Jimmy Russell is a man who was accused of murdering a groundskeeper or a caretaker of his family's land, and then cutting some parts away from his body, including his genitals. And when they found Jimmy, some of those parts of the body were found that had been microwaved and were in a dish on the kitchen table. And some of those
Ugh.
parts were gone completely,
Oh,
leading
yeah.
to a charge of cannibalism, as well as, a murder charge, of course.
There is that also.
So, as it turned out, Jimmy has had a lifetime of mental health issues. And for some
Mhm.
reason, and he had recently been in a mental health hospital in California where he had said that he believed that if he could just eat his own flesh, that he believed that would cure his mental health issues.
Mm.
And after he was released from there, he ended up living on their family's property in Idaho, where an elderly man by the name of David Flaggett was the caretaker of that property and had been for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And he was really, really paranoid about David being there, and they'd had several run-ins. And he
Mhm.
issued threats to David lots of times, and eventually did murder David, which is horrifying. Well, pretty much immediately, he was found not fit to serve trial at the time because of his mental health, and so he was placed in a facility. This is
Mhm.
Lori Vallow-esque. If you live in Idaho, this is what happened with Lori Vallow too,
Yeah.
except for that he pretty much immediately went to a mental hospital here in Idaho. So in
Mhm.
Idaho, there's no insanity plea. However, you have to be found competent to understand the charges against you and assist in your own defense. And
Right.
at that point, Jimmy was not there.
Mm-hmm.
But just about the same time that Lori Vallow was released from the mental hospital, all spiffed up and ready for court, so was this guy. So now his proceedings are starting to roll forward. But something happened this last week that I felt like was worth reporting on. In court, his attorneys were able to get the cannibalism charges dropped.
Mm.
Why? Because there's no definitive proof that he actually gobbled anything up.
God.
Mhm.
Okay. I
Yep.
guess that's better. I don't know.
I guess. I guess. However, he is still charged with first-degree murder. So, they're certainly going
Well,
to
good.
get their, their due diligence with him, but this was the first time Idaho passed an anti-cannibalism statute in 1990.
Yes.
No one's ever been charged with it before.
Well, I think we can all be grateful for that.
Uh-huh. And yet, he was charged with it, and then it was released. This is what gets to me. It's because the judge said there's no definitive proof that he actually consumed any of Mr. Flagett's flesh.
Mm-hmm.
If your stomach's turning, I'm sorry, mine is too. But I don't know how they would have proved that. I mean, did they pump his stomach? How would you
Right.
know that for sure? Unless, I guess, maybe unless someone literally witnessed it. I mean, the
Right.
cooked body parts on the kitchen table, I guess, weren't enough. I
Yeah.
really feel for Mr. Flagett's family. We had contact with one of his granddaughters when this first happened, and they
Yeah.
were just so horrified and furious and heartbroken and everything you can imagine, of course.
So
And
sad.
then to watch the way it had rolled through the media, people made a big joke out of it, because of the, the manner of the way things were, done. But this is a real person whose family is just absolutely horrified. And then to get to go to court last week and discover that the judge was dropping the cannibalism charges, I can't even imagine. That must have been
No.
such a gut punch for them.
Yeah. I'm sure that it
So,
was.
yeah. But he will stand trial, though, on first degree murder charges, and he will be convicted. I have no question of that.
Yeah.
So they will get that. But at any rate, that's what's going on with that case, in case you've been wondering. Several people have asked us what was up with that. So now
Yeah.
you know.
Well, now you know whether you wanted to or not. Yikes.
I just wonder, given the circumstances behind this one, what would it take for those charges to hold? You know?
I would imagine a witness or, yeah, literal like medical intervention
Yeah.
would be the only ways to know for sure.
Yeah. Good Lord. Yeah.
Yikes.
All righty. Well, I'm going to kick the mic back over to you for our main case.
Okay. Today's case comes out of Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Hmm.
And this just happened on June 11th. And this is the murder of Riley Whitelaw. Riley worked at Walgreens in
Hmm.
Colorado Springs. And a year ago, when Riley was 16, she reported that a coworker, Joshua Johnson, was making advances. He was like 26 or 27 at the time, making advances on her and making her uncomfortable, and she did not want to work with him anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what actually happened at that time, other than the manager gave Joshua a talking to.
A
And
warning.
apparently, Joshua seemed receptive when he was told to keep it professional.
Yes.
Pardon the giant eye roll, because
Hmm.
Joshua kept friggin' working there.
Hmm. And kept making her uncomfortable.
Yes, kept making her uncomfortable until a few weeks ago, she again asked to please not work with him because he makes her uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And then, not long after that, she did seek more hours at her job, and they told her the only way to work more hours would be to work with good old Joshua Johnson.
Hmm.
So, on the 11th of June, she didn't come back from her break. And this, and I'm sure this is all still rolling out, but the
Yeah.
details of this are very strange to me. So, a
Mhm.
manager called the store manager and said, "Hey, Riley didn't ever show up back from break." So, what does the store manager do? He comes in and he reviews the security footage for the store.
Yeah.
Why? Why would that be your first move if an employee didn't
Mhm.
come back after break?
Right. Also, the break was a 10-minute break, and this was 90 minutes later.
Yeah,
90. An hour
really
and a half.
weird. None of this makes much sense.
Mm-mm.
So, the manager, in reviewing the security footage, sees video of Joshua Johnson stacking a bunch of totes up so that they block the view of a security camera near the employee break room.
Yeah.
So it's at this point that the boss thinks maybe I should go look in the break room. And the break
Huh.
room has had a bunch of paper taped up on the windows so you can't see inside it. And there is a sign near it that says restroom closed. None of things that are supposed to happen. The restroom
No.
closed, and I guess goes up later in the evening when they want people out of the store.
Mhm.
So he opens the door of the break room and he sees Riley laying on the
Mhm.
floor in a huge pool of blood.
Yep. With her headset and her name
Well,
tag at her feet.
yes.
Yeah.
So they call the police. The police come, and of course, unfortunately, Riley is deceased. She has a bunch of injuries to her neck area
Mhm.
and blood everywhere. And the manager does think to tell them, there is this employee here who does make her uncomfortable. Maybe you should look into him. And that was
Weird.
good old Joshua Johnson.
Mhm.
At one point, while all of this is going on, an employee goes outside, kind of, I think, looking for Riley. They must have one of those like little sheds where they lock their dumpsters in.
Mhm.
And then, this manager goes to the shed and goes to open the door, and someone yells, "I'm changing in here."
Yeah.
Well, it turns out it was Joshua Johnson
Well, and
and
smelled bleach. She said it
smelled
smelled very
bleach.
strongly of bleach out there.
He'd
Yeah.
been apparently trying to use bleach to clean up. Well, he took off.
Mhm.
And of course, they realize that he's probably suspect numero uno here.
Mhm.
And they find him 100 miles away walking down the highway.
Yeah.
Also strange. We don't know how he got there. There's a lot of holes in the
Mhm.
story. And
Oh
there will
yeah.
be much more to come, I am sure.
Mhm.
But they have arrested him and charged him with first-degree murder. He has denied everything other than he used to have a crush on, Riley, but he doesn't anymore because he's in a sexual relationship with one of the managers. Now, that
Mhm.
manager has not confirmed that relationship at all.
No.
Um, but I was very curious about this case. Like, what is Walgreens' responsibility here? And
Yeah.
I read an article written by a labor attorney in Colorado who said that
Mhm.
there are no laws requiring a removal of an employee, a firing of an employee for sexually harassing another employee. Even considering Riley was a minor
Yeah.
and Joshua was an adult.
Yeah.
Walgreens did nothing to
Nothing.
protect this girl
Mm-mm.
from this man. Just flat nothing.
Nope.
And the sick thing is that when the manager found her body, he immediately knew who'd done this.
Yeah.
He knew what
He
the
knew.
risk was. He knew.
He knew the whole time.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
So I'm so sad for Riley's family, my God.
Mhm.
And just for all of the employees at this store, what they must be putting up with, and just this experience in general is
Mhm.
horrifying. But we're going to stay on this one. This is a really important one because we need a much clearer plan and much clearer labor laws around this kind of harassment, particularly when it is an adult
Uh-huh.
harassing a minor.
Well, and Riley did the right things. The right
Right.
things, right? She did report it repeatedly. She
Yes,
did tell adults.
she
She
did.
did ask to be put on a different shift. She was just dressed in her work uniform.
Yeah.
Riley didn't do anything wrong here,
Mm-mm.
but the system around her absolutely failed her.
Totally.
One of the things that they think may have kind of set him off a little further is that apparently her boyfriend started working at Walgreens
Yeah.
earlier in the spring,
Yeah.
and that inflamed him a little further. Why
Yeah,
was
he
he
was
still
acting
working there?
jealous.
How
Yeah.
valuable could this man have been to Walgreens
Right.
that he was still working there? This is the thing. Women are
Yep.
constantly dismissed when they bring up concerns like this. Oh, he just has a crush on you. Just ignore it. Oh, from the time that little girls
Mhm.
get beat up on the playground by
Yeah.
boys and everybody goes, "Oh, he just has a crush on you."
That's the
No.
most screwed up crap ever.
Yeah,
No.
from that all the way to this.
Unacceptable.
You wanna work more hours? Oh, sorry, the guy you don't like works those hours.
Yeah. The guy who makes you
Nope.
feel uncomfortable and creeps you out. So you just have to work with him and suck it up.
Now some people will argue that she really should have quit and got a different job. On
Why
one
should
hand, I
she
say,
have
why
to?
should she exactly? Why should she have to? Why should she have to? Because here's the thing. She would have run into that somewhere else too. This
Yes,
is not new.
unfortunately.
This happens all the damn time.
Yep,
All the
it does.
time. All the time.
Mhm.
And the Me Too movement, I think, sparked in a lot of us memories of things that have happened to us in jobs, at
Oh, yeah.
school, in our neighborhoods, in our churches, that you go, yeah, I've been treated this way before.
Mhm.
And lots of women are treated this way and never murdered or sexually assaulted, but lots are.
Yeah.
And you cannot be too careful.
We don't know which ones are gonna snap and kill us, you
Mhm.
know? She
Yep.
fought him, he was all scratched up, his face and his hands. She
Yeah.
fought for her life.
Mhm.
Here's the other thing, we're always talking about see something, hear something, say
Mhm.
something. There was
Yeah.
a customer in the store in the deodorant aisle who
Mhm.
heard a woman screaming and things being like she said it sounded like stall doors slamming shut.
Mhm.
She actually said to the police later, "I didn't think I possibly could have heard anything like that, so I just left."
Mhm.
And then, after she saw the police at Walgreens, she thought she should probably stop and tell him what was going on. She
Mhm.
heard the attack and said nothing.
Yep.
Who
She
knows?
she's
Somebody could have
16.
saved Riley's life at that point.
Mhm. This girl is 16, the customer.
You know,
Didn't know what to do, but didn't do a thing.
no.
We can't be complacent. We can't.
No, and we need to recognize that if you hear something that sounds like that, you go tell somebody immediately.
Yeah.
It's okay to be wrong.
Even if it was just turned out to be employees horsing around, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay.
you just wanna make sure people are safe, but she heard the attack. But if she heard the attack in the store, did other people hear the attack?
Mhm.
I mean, this was an open store with other employees there, customers. Like, this happened at a time when there were people around. How did no one notice,
Yeah.
you know? And why? Why, when she didn't come back from break, did no one go check the break room?
Sooner.
They called the manager to come back after he'd left for the day, and his first move is to look at the surveillance?
Right.
All of this is weird.
It's
All of
all
this is
weird.
weird.
Yeah.
Some of it just doesn't quite ring true to me. I really wonder as the investigation goes forward if we're gonna find that some of that is not exactly how it happened or
Mhm.
something else, because why wasn't the first move to check the break room
Yeah.
when she didn't come back from break?
Mhm.
Very odd.
Mhm.
Very odd.
I hope that her parents sue the bejesus out of Walgreens.
I do too, frankly. Why, if they're going to employ minors, do they
Mhm.
not have policies that protect them from predatory adults?
Mhm.
I mean, come on. This is 2022.
Or if
Okay?
they're going to
We know
employ
this shit happens.
anybody, why don't they have policies in place? Or if they
Right.
do, they sure the hell weren't followed in this instance.
No. And there
God,
are no
just so
actual
horrifying.
laws governing any of that, which just means
Yeah.
that it's up to Walgreens to decide.
Mhm.
And multiple reports by this girl that this guy is making her uncomfortable was not enough for them to do anything. They didn't do
She was
anything.
just a silly teenager. I
And they
mean,
talked to him and he said, okay.
yeah.
No, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There better be some serious consequences for Walgreens over this. But
Mhm.
employers everywhere, maybe you could give a shit about women that you employ, maybe a little, this much.
Maybe you could listen when they tell you they're being harassed.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit last week about my daughter being harassed
Yes.
recently she was working running a friend's business while she was out of town for a few days, and she was extremely uncomfortable by a situation to the point that when it was a couple of her male friends were sitting with her at her job to just help her feel more comfy in being there.
Mhm.
And it turned out the one kid that was hanging out with her knows the person who employs this weird man that was super inappropriate and making her really uncomfortable. So he
Mhm.
called that person's employer. Turns out he's a leader in his church. And he
Mm.
said, what can you tell me about this guy? He's coming over here making my friend really uncomfortable at the place she works. And he goes, "Oh, yeah, he's weird, but he's harmless." Oh yeah, we've heard
I
that shit before.
think I just
Harmless.
sprained my eyes. I rolled them so hard. Are you
Mhm.
kidding me?
He's
Harm
harmless.
says a man.
Mhm.
You wouldn't know
Mhm.
in a million fucking years, dude.
Mhm.
Ugh.
Harmless to the point that she closed that business early her last day and went the hell home and said, "I'm not doing this anymore."
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was very uncomfortable. It was
Mhm.
not okay. None of it was okay. This is just the stuff that girls and women come up against all the damn time.
And just her discomfort should
Mhm.
have been enough.
Yeah.
Just like Riley's discomfort should
Mhm.
have been enough. You
Riley knew.
know?
Mhm.
Is not believing women when we all know
Mhm.
goddamn well this stuff happens all the time.
Mhm.
So tired of it.
Mhm.
And just heartbroken for Riley.
And her family, my God. And I feel like Riley's parents were doing what they thought was the right thing in coaching her to, okay, well, tell your boss we don't want you working with him anymore. Tell your boss that he's making you
Mhm.
uncomfortable and hitting on you. Tell your boss you need to be scheduled opposite shifts. We're not going to allow this, you know? And she
Right.
did those things,
Right.
but it wasn't enough.
And the employer didn't do a damn thing to protect her
No.
and just kept employing this guy
Hmm.
who is making her uncomfortable at work. Like,
But you have to wonder. Surely it wasn't just Riley.
I'll bet you $1,000 it wasn't.
I'm guessing that women are going to start coming out of the woodwork going, yeah, I worked there for a while. He was really gross. I quit, you know?
Mhm. I
Or
I had
I reported his behavior and they didn't do anything.
didn't do anything.
It's coming.
It is. It is. That happened to me at a job, and I was being harassed by a man who was much older than me. I was in my early 20s. I went to my boss, and I what I had done is I talked to a bunch of the other girls that were around my age that worked there. All of them had had bad experiences with this guy,
Yeah.
and none of them dared say anything. So I went to my boss,
Mhm.
and of course they consequenced him, but did he get fired? No.
Mm-mm.
No, he did not.
Nope.
He did keep about 10 feet between him and I at all times because they had threatened him with everything. But
Mhm.
he had a family to support, don't you know?
Right.
Oh, okay, thanks. So me and the other
Mm.
5 girls that are like, "This guy is a creeper and we're uncomfortable here," we don't matter because he needs to provide for his family.
Mhm.
Bullshit.
Or
Total
maybe
bullshit.
he needs to go do that elsewhere and or learn that if you're creepy as hell at work, there's going to be ramifications. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah. Well, friends, you know what to do. See something, hear something, say something.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? We all need to write to Walgreens. Get on
Yep.
their website, send them a message, tell
Mm-hmm.
them you know about the murder that happened in Colorado Springs and that you want to know what they are going to do to
Mm-hmm.
make this better.
Absolutely.
How are they going to protect their employees? And how are they going to help Riley Whitelaw's family?
Yeah. And we'll keep an eye on this one and we'll definitely let you know what we learn
Yes,
because
we
we're not
will.
going to stop talking about this.
No, not at all. And speaking of crazy bullshit, Katie, I hear you have a Florida man story for us.
Oh, don't I? Oh, Florida man. In this case, someone did see something and say something.
Oh,
We've had several stories
what a
like this the
relief.
last couple of weeks, and I'm really proud of people for
We have.
stepping up
Yeah.
because it needs to happen a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So, this genius right here's name is David Daniels. And
Mm,
David Daniels of Brandon, Florida, has been
mm-hmm.
arrested on 2 counts of child abuse and 2 counts of false imprisonment
Oh, God.
because he tried to kidnap 2 little girls.
Oh,
They were riding their bikes down the street, and this jackass tries to get a hold of these girls, hits one of them in the head,
mm.
and they manage to kind of get away from him and run into a church. And he just stalks right in there with them, trying to impersonate their father. And one of the
Oh.
little girls says to a lady, "Please help us. This is not my dad." So, A,
Oh.
good job, babe, for being smart, for saying something,
Yeah.
for fighting back. And yay on the people in the church who basically circled these children and tried to, and protected them until the police got there. So when the little girl said, "Please help me, this is not my dad," he was talking to this little girl in her ear, had his arm around her neck and had his, leaning right down into her ear saying, "We just moved here. We just want to see how we can help do whatever you're doing." Like they're just coming in to be a part of their church.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. She said she felt like Daniels was lying, especially because this little girl was saying, "This is not my father."
Yeah.
So she invited him into the church and engaged him in
Uh-huh.
conversation. And she said to him, "Oh, really? Where did you move here from?" And he said, I'm not sure." So the people in the church basically just kind
I'm
of
not sure.
yeah, formed a bit of a human wall and just didn't let him leave while they waited for the police to get there.
Mm-hmm.
He did finally leave without the kids. Uh, and the police grabbed him later that day. But
Good.
the little girls were safe. Yeah.
Wow.
They were actually going to the church.
Oh,
Yep.
they were.
Hmm.
Wow.
Well, I'm not sure, actually. The article that I read said that they were riding their bikes, and it said they rode their bikes to the church. I'm not sure if that's where they were actually headed, but they went to the church seeking safety when this guy was creeping on them.
Mm-hmm. Well, good.
They saved their own lives, probably.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Probably.
And then the people who listened,
Hmm. Hmm.
very glad
Uh, the
for
lady who
that.
saved them in Florida wanted to go unnamed.
Mm, sure.
Yep. But the members of this church absolutely stepped up and saved these little girls. So smart thinking on the girls' part, and
Mm-hmm.
thank God these women, the people there stepped up and listened and called the police and saved them. Uh, but that's what should happen every time.
It is. It
We
is
would
what should
have
happen every
less
time.
of this shit if that's what was happening. If
Right.
people were afraid that the people around them would not be putting up with this, would be confronting them, would be calling them out, maybe we'd have less of this stuff.
It's true. It's absolutely true. If we
Mhm.
were all paying better attention and willing to
Mhm.
speak up and notice and get involved, it's a
Yeah,
great deterrent.
for sure. Yep. So there you have it. Florida man.
Well, sometimes even Florida gets it right, and I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Well, wrong and right.
Wrong and right. Yeah, true. Kind of got both there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is our Wednesday episode. We'll be back tonight with Wednesday night case updates at 7 p.m. Mountain. That
Mhm.
is a live stream. And at 8 p.m. Mountain is our true crime cold read party. So if you
Yes.
are a member of our YouTube channel, you can join us, bring us a case that you've always wondered what really happened, bring us old cases, give us a couple sentence synopsis, and we will take turns reading those cases. We'll tell you what we see happened to those in those situations. And
Yep.
if you haven't joined our channel yet, you can just go to True Crime Paranormal on YouTube and click join. It's $4.99 a month, and then you can
Mhm.
come attend the cold read party. We have a lot of fun.
Mhm.
And here, there's so many cold cases out there in the world. We can never possibly see them all. And so this is a great way for us to get more of them and
Yeah.
to give you our read on what really happened in those
Yep.
situations. Yeah.
Love it. Love the cold read
Yes.
party. Yep.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. That helps us grow. Check us out over on Patreon. We do 2 extra cases a month for our patrons. So we're just
Mhm.
True Crime Paranormal on Patreon. Go to patreon.com. You'll find us there. And if
Mhm.
you join, you get access to, there's upwards of 200 episodes over there that y'all have never even seen because they're only for
Yeah.
patrons. Yeah. So that's a great way to support us and get more content.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, you know it. We are True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. Thanks for being here.
Take care.